Alarm set, coffee on, and away we went for racing once again in Australia as Melbourne hosted the Australian Grand Prix for the first time in 3 years. And the Scuderia were sensational, or at least one half of the Ferrari garage was, and Red Bull Racing continued to struggle with reliability in the early start of this new season. I'm Ollie Wilson for GP Fans, and this is everything that went down at the New Look Albert Park at the Australian Grand Prix this Sunday. Charles Leclerc cruised to victory at the Australian Grand Prix, leaving his early title rivals in the dust as the Ferrari driver grabbed his second win of the new season, leading the Grand Prix from start to finish. Even before the race in the New Look Albert Park, Leclerc's rivals were having trouble compared with the pole sitter, with Red Bull Racing mechanics frantically dealing with a problem with Max Verstappen's car while it sat on the grid on Sunday, an ominous warning for what was to come for the Dutchman. Verstappen's teammate Sergio Perez had a pretty poor start from third on the grid going into turn 1 as the Mexican driver watched Leclerc and Verstappen pull away while Lewis Hamilton dived up the inside and came out of the opening chicane in a podium position. Further back, Carlos Sainz was stuck in the battle of the middle of the pack, but that wouldn't last too long as the Spanish driver soon found himself stuck in the gravel trap on lap 3 after sliding off the circuit at turns 11 and 12, bringing out the first safety car of the race. At the restart, Verstappen struggled to keep pace with Leclerc once again, complaining of graining on his tyres after just 13 laps, while Perez was able to force his way past Lewis Hamilton to retake third. 11 laps later and the safety car was out once more. Sebastian Vettel's torrid weekend capped off with an early retirement on lap 24 after he connected with the barriers coming out of turn 4. This allowed George Russell, who pitted far later than the other leaders, to make his first stop under the safety car and leap into a podium position in third. At the restart, Russell couldn't hold on to the front two, but Verstappen got a cracking run out of turn 16 as the safety car pulled in and looked to have a dive at the Monegasque driver in the lead, but Leclerc recovered to fend off the initial advances and then was clear of DRS range and the Red Bull threat for the remainder of the race. In the mirrors of George Russell was Sergio Perez, who had to once again find a way past another Mercedes to take third, eventually outgunning the Silver Arrows after a handful of laps, meeting plenty of resistance initially from the young British driver. It appeared as if the top three was pretty much set in stone, with Leclerc setting the pace and the Red Bulls following in tow neatly until Verstappen was forced to pull to the side of the road on lap 39, dashing his hopes of a podium or a perhaps improbable race win, with the assumption being that whatever had been the problem before the race had come back to bite him as the reigning world champion was forced into an early retirement. The rest of the race was dominated by a DRS train in the middle order, with Esteban Ocon leading home in his Alpine, Valtteri Bottas, Pierre Gasly in the AlphaTauri, and Alexander Albon, with Albon grabbing the first points for Williams of the new season, with Lance Stroll and Fernando Alonso also involved in the battle, albeit with the Canadian holding a 5-second time penalty for weaving earlier on in the race, and Alonso making a late first pit stop after staying out for an age on his hard tyres that he'd run from the start. So it wraps up in Australia with Charles Leclerc first and victorious in perhaps his easiest win in Formula 1 to date, Sergio Perez second in the Red Bull, and George Russell getting his first podium as a Mercedes driver if you don't count his stint in Sakir in 2020. Lewis Hamilton was fourth in the second Silver Arrows, Lando Norris and Danny Ricciardo fifth and sixth in the McLarens in a positive weekend for them, and the quartet of Ocon, Bottas, Gasly and Albon taking up the remaining point scoring positions. Obviously, we are only at the third race, so it is difficult to think about the championship, but to be honest, we have got a very strong car, a very reliable car too, and for now, we have always been there, said Leclerc after the race, beaming as he spoke. I hope it continues like this, and if it does, we probably have a chance for the championship, which makes me smile after the last 2 years that have been difficult for the team, and obviously, for myself. So Charles Leclerc cruises to victory in Australia with his most impressive win to date, perhaps, of his Formula 1 career. Let us know your thoughts on the Australian Grand Prix in the comments section down below. What did you make of the new look track? Did it provide better racing and a better spectacle on Sunday? And what about Red Bull's reliability problems, particularly with Mercedes starting to close that gap in terms of race pace, and McLaren as well, just starting to find a bit of joy this season? We want to know all of your thoughts and your comments down below, and of course get onto us at GPFans Global on Twitter and Instagram for all of the breaking news coming out of race day in Australia.